Welcome to All Tech Lansing.
Oh, that is bad. Look, see the eyes. It's happening for the Lord. My God, a real nigga. And see what no God. Moving on the corner like a watchtower. Sure, got this down here. I'm all with it. People and family, all work, they don't want to keep the shit, man. They don't want to tell you, bring my energy right down on pants. For my design, I want to tell you why I'm so bad. Nigga, the talk, dirty down pants. Look, I'm low like such a star, irritation, but I got it. When you see me all over, you point that bitch around like way all over. These are they won't have. Things I can talk over. Maybe for a change, but I got it. She said, still to look me, I'm trying to put this thing. We tell it, like, oh, you with it here. The world got me down my bitch. Crap out of y'all down. Just in the state. Looking for a bitch better. Everything jiggy through my truck flying off. I'm gonna go there for 6. Yeah, let them feel what them niggas on the bench.
This video he says he and members of this Christian Bible school are well within their First Amendment rights. City supports the police arguing for trespassing. In addition, they could
He's dead. Like a silver is the last niggas they would have paid. Like full of play. These old niggas trying to I might have to make it pay. Some niggas even flex. That's how I walk in high in the gym on my speech. Yeah. Niggas hate because they all on us. I'm just talking about myself, but now they all on me. Shut up, bitch. Hey, I don't want to love you. Shut the fuck up. Nigga, like this shit. Now look what you better do. I always talk. All these niggas say it. I'm into getting money. All these niggas want to talk. So it's cool. Let me know I'm on the top. Steady in the courtroom. Always fighting cops. Off the top. Case heavy at the time, so they watch. Waiting on the niggas to try to make me slip up. Talking up on me like oh, be a cup. They drunk. You see the slug, look to get that back in back, you ain't getting love. The white make it flip it down, much, yeah, I know. Some people are looking for these hoes, but I ain't even pressed. I think I need going on, but they get it wrong, but they don't get it out. See this crazy. Then the motherfuckers got juice in my cup is better than the they ain't talking about what the fuck do you mean? And you see these ass bitches pretty choosing on me. But I don't want a bitch scared, bitch drooling on me. You don't want me on the things you want to move with me. But I want to make a she like forgetting on me. I like to tell the G, you would see that nigga from the G. It's a double strip of punch a G. I got DC double O 13. I know the shit that got me moving on the scene. The fuck do you mean? Behave, but they can't now. But
even 30 years later, videos don't necessarily teach you new things of officers. Advocates for reform say that needs to change.
so niggas, that shit ain't gon' stop the way we walking my nigga. We be riding, what we do, them bitches be talking. That shit never change. All my sisters and brothers, because I love my city, never now. It's amazing to see how we live death on the spot. Boy, I get from my life to think. My mind playing was naked. Kids always at the next time. Say what you don't even play. I open up my window, breakers found out we was born here. Nation of big respected, but it is worry. Rejecting me, I complex shit, fighting against it. We need the truth and rejected, but love and getting corrected. My niggas direct me, the command is the foundation. Brotherhood is a way. Brotherhood is a way. I can say because brotherhood is a way. Just be a party. Because brotherhood is a way. Brotherhood is a way. Because brotherhood is a way.
Very fast. Couldn't tell. Yeah.
See what I don't know.
All right. Ready to get into it. One second. One second. All right. Let's get it. All right. Shalom, Israel. This is the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge. Started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General Yohana, Precinct Officer 5000 Kasar Pakad. This is the Thursday night scripture breakdown class for ISUPK Northern California, ISUPK Bay Area, ISUPK Sacramento, ISUPK Pacific Northwest, all of that. You understand? So we holding it down out here. On represent for the UPK one time. If you logging on online, you understand, give yourselves a hand, sisters a hand, brothers a hand that's online. Most High in Christ, Shalom Yabashim Yashar Bagathud, Quran Yala, Officer Karak, Uragabar, Sister Flo as well. Shalom, shalom. Let's get it in. All right. Let's go ahead. Tonight, it's a lot of things going on in the world. It's a lot of information going around here and there, to and fro. It's a glorious time to be alive. Like to come into the truth. I was talking to the brother Quran Yala yesterday, and I know Karak always says similar things. That coming into the truth and seeing things unravel the way the world is unraveling, and the prophecies of the Bible coming to fruition so quickly for a lot of brothers. Because just 2016, ISUPK was a lot smaller than what it is right now. Just a few brothers, 2015, 2014, good night. This is all in the rebuilding after the former house had fell apart. You understand? Now you're seeing the rebuilding of the UPK and the continuation, I'll say that. But seeing brothers come back after everyone left, everyone deserted and dropped their sword. Commander General Yohana held it down. Then the generals coming right behind him, General Mahaiman, General Mayaka, General Hazayan, General Anya Shawamar, General Katham Gabar, General Kubala Ma. You know, these brothers came in and picked it up and built this. And the Bible says that the latter house shall be greater than the former house. Let me get that precept. What's that in? Let's see. See, Haggai 2 and 9. We'll go ahead and get that right now. Go to the book of Haggai, chapter 2 and verse 9. And it reads, the glory of this latter house shall be greater than of the former, saith the Lord of hosts. And in this place will I give peace, saith the Lord of hosts. The latter house shall be greater than the former house. Now, the former house is the ISUPK, the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge, was the former house, which was excellent, which was glorious in the sight of the Lord, and was glorious in the eyes of Commanding General Yohana, is where he found the truth. This is why we say 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, because the place where the truth was born at, reborn at, and brought back into the world from this book that was sealed, the understanding of this book that was sealed, that was talked about in the book of Daniel. We're going to get that one as well. Was reopened, brought back to life, right? But the latter house will be even greater than that. That's an amazing statement, because the former house was excellent. The former house was with brothers like Yaquah, or we go all the way to the top, Abba Bivens. Abba Bivens was a brother that found the truth while other brothers were going out learning from heathens, learning from Edomites, watching these Amalekites, these small-hat so-called Jewish people teach the Bible and learning from them, wanting to be like them, following their coattail, learning the Bible. He broke away from that, seeing who they were in the Bible, really reading the Bible, really getting the precepts, and the Lord opening his eyes to see the truth and saying, nah, these are not the real Jews of the Bible. These are not our brothers. These people are the devil the Bible speaks of. And he was able to come down and teach men like Yaquah, Mashah, head priest Ariah, Yeshaya, Lahab, Shar. You understand? All these men that came out and built the school that we call the ISUPK. These brothers was wise. If you ever watch a class taught by Yeshaya or see a camp speaking from Mashah or Kent speaking from Ariyah. These brothers were absolutely amazing. They knew the precepts. You hear about men that talk about Yahweh in one of the classes that he would teach. He's coming with precept after precept after precept, just straight off the top of his head. He knew this book in and out, man. Before the Bible to talk about this precept right here saying the latter will be greater than the former, man. That means the things that you're going to see done here in the UPK before Christ, our King, returns are going to be even greater than that and even more amazing, man. And so for someone to come into the truth and see these things popping off in such timely fashion is amazing as well in itself. Let me get my precept right here. What is it? John 13. 14. Where is it? So I wanted 2 precepts. I wanted Luke 10 and 24. That's one of them, but what's the other one? I usually Matthew 13 and 17. Let's go to Luke 10 and 24. Let's do that. Let's go to Luke chapter 10, verse 24. It's another precept. Let's go to. We'll start at verse 23. The book of Luke, chapter 10, verse 23. And he turned him unto his disciples and said privately, blessed are the eyes which see the things that ye see. Like your eyes are blessed. The people today that are able to go and turn on the news and see war in Israel and Hamas, beefing, bonking, as we used to say. Your eyes are blessed to see that. Turning on the news and seeing Russia and Ukraine going at it. Speaks of Taiwan and China going at it. Talks of World War III on CNN, on Fox News. That's a glorious thing for your eyes to see, because this is what the Bible says, verse 24. For I tell you that many prophets and kings have desired to see those things which ye see and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear and have not heard them. Like Christ is telling them right then in that moment, the things that he's showing them. There were many prophets that wanted to see Christ move in the flesh, wanted to see the miracles that he was going to do. And many prophets and kings that heard about the days to come and wished to see them for themselves, but didn't see it. Now you are sitting here with Christ and seeing these things happen. And now we're on this side seeing the future being unfolded and unraveling. Like certain things wouldn't even be possible without the technology that we have for us right now. What do I mean when I say that? The 12 tribes have been scattered abroad to the 4 corners of the earth. There are Israelites in Brazil, we know, Israelites in Colombia, Israelites in Chile, Argentina, in Venezuela, in Puerto Rico, and Jamaica, and Haiti. How would the truth even get around to all these different nations, to all these different people, if it wasn't for this modern technology, the computer, the internet, the cell phones? I would have never heard about the brothers in Harlem, New York, living my life here in California, or living in Louisiana where I was at. The way I heard about the truth was on the internet. And so certain things wouldn't even be possible if it wasn't for the time that we're living in. And so all of these things had to come and get set into place so that the Lord can do what he said he was going to do. So that the Lord can deliver his lost children, his lost sheep, and that they can enter into the kingdom and he can destroy their enemies. He can destroy our enemies. You understand? So once again, verse 24, the book of Luke, chapter 10, verse 24. For I tell you that many prophets and kings have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear, and have not heard them. So we've got to appreciate this, right? And Commander Johnny Hanna came into the school in the 80s. This is 40 years ago now. And even that is a short period of time. That's a short lifetime. 40-year-old person is not an old person in any way, shape, or form when you look at the broad scheme of life or just throughout the ages in history. It may be young to, I mean, it may be old to some youngsters, you know, some teeny boppers, but you think about 100 years ago, 150 years ago, how things have changed, how quickly the world has changed. 40 years is not a long time. It is but a short time. But when you're living through it day by day, in and out, that's a while, man. It's not something fly by night. And he's been reading these Bible verses and hearing about these prophecies, and now 40 years later, we're seeing them unfold. Some people came into the truth last year. Some people came into the school 5 years ago. You got to ask yourself, would you have been able to make it through and endure through all the ups and downs and talking about something and not seeing it completely happen, but knowing it's going to happen? That's the faith and the patience of the saints. And Barak Atah Yahweh Wa Yahweh Shai for men like Commander Junior Hanna, man, and all the men that followed after him, because they opened the door to save lives and change people's lives. All right. So yeah, let's go ahead. What was the other precept I wanted? Let's see. The latter house, the former house. All right. Let's go ahead and get. I'll go to. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 1. The book of Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 1. Some things that I've been hearing about. What's one of the things that's been going on lately? Man, there's so much. This talks about the BRICS. If y'all haven't been aware, you look up the BRICS nation or the BRICS alliance or what have you. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa been coming together to put their money together and put their currencies together and make a currency, a new currency that can rival the American dollar. Because America tried to stop the Russians and go to war with them economically. They didn't want to go to war with Russia with weaponry, with the Ukraine thing popping off, because they know there's always a threat of nuclear war. So how did they decide to deal with Russia? They wanted to go to war with them economically, shutting down sanctions, business, and doing this and that to stop them from making money. But they were not able to stop them from making money because Russia strengthened its ties with China and all these different other nations that are a part of BRICS. So you're seeing the weakness of America happen right before your eyes. You're seeing America fall off, right? All right. And so we have got to just stay focused, stay doing what we need to do, and watch this place be destroyed. And keep pleading to the Most High to deliver us from this place. Because on the way over here to class, there's a billboard that I saw. I took a screenshot, and it had all these different people on the billboard, kids and old women, and they're saying that these are kids and women that were kidnapped by Hamas. And it's just trying to remind the people why they should support Israel. Remind people how evil Hamas is. And I'm thinking, like, what kind of billboard would you have to build to show all of Black Americans on there, all of the Benjamites, the Jamaicans, and the Haitians, and the people from Barbados and Trinidad and Bermuda, all of those different brothers that were brought over here and kidnapped by America. Where's that billboard at? They want you to feel sympathy for 8 people that were kidnapped by Hamas, which is horrible. Okay, yeah, that's wrong. But no one wants to feel anything for what was done to us. So why in the hell should we have a feelings for them? All right. But Ezekiel chapter, where we at, 38 and 1? 37 and 1. Let's see. All right, we're going to go to 38 and 1. And the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against God, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, I am against thee, O God, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. Lord is saying he's against this person. The spirit of this land of Gog and Magog and these people is now upon the modern day Russians. At this time period, Gog and Magog were a Japhetic tribe, a Japhetic people. They no longer occupy this land, but this future prophecy is talking about the people that occupy the land to this day. Verse 4, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine armies, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great army with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. So, once again, these are talking about the gathering of all these different nations in the beginning of World War III. That at one point in time in the 90s, you had a point where Russia was, the USSR was dissolved, and they were going back to being capitalist and getting away from communists. And everyone thought that Russia was an ally to the US. But the Lord said he's going to put hooks into thy jaws and will bring thee and I will turn him. So like it, read verse 4 again. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thine jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thine army. Man, he's gonna pull him back and pull his spirit back into wanting to go to war with America. And that is also a righteous thing to see. Because these people are so evil in this place that they would never give any mercy, any type of restitution to the so-called Black man, to the so-called Native American, to the so-called Latinos of North Central South America, the people from the Caribbean islands. All they have done is stripped us of everything that we had, our money, our resources, and then point the finger at us and blame us for our problems and issues. Like they had nothing to do with the condition that we're in. And that's a glorious thing that they feel like that as well. Because the Lord has done this to these people, man. The pride of Esau is so great. Let me get this precept. What is it? Exodus 15, 16. Let's see. So 17. Let's see. Get this precept real quick. 14. All right, I have to look it up real quick. Bear with me. All right, 1 second. I know it's one precept, obviously, in the book of Romans. Here. Exodus 10 and 20. You can go to that one too, but where's the one that I want? Let's go to Exodus chapter 10, verse 20, though, for time's sake. Exodus chapter 10, verse 20. Start at verse. All right. But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart so that he would not let the children of Israel go. And this, you're gonna hear this throughout the different plagues that come across the people of Egypt. All right. Oh, man, hey, I know I'm right. We can write at it too. Okay, there it goes. Let's go to Exodus chapter 14, verse 17. And I, behold, I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians, and they shall follow them, and I will get me honor upon Pharaoh and upon all his hosts, upon his chariots and upon his horsemen. Yeah, that's the one that I wanted. Like the Lord hardened the hearts of the Egyptians. He hardened the hearts of Pharaoh, hardened the heart of Pharaoh, so that he wouldn't have any emotion or consciousness. And that's what you're dealing with here in America. There was a movement in the 1960s, everyone's aware of, with Martin Luther King Jr., that was based on being pacifist or based on being nonviolent, the nonviolent movement, right? And they told people that Gandhi had a movement with the people in India where he had a moral belief that if you are nonviolent and you don't do anything and you just fight for your rights, no matter what the people do to you, no matter what the oppressors do to you, eventually them harming you and hurting you and abusing you will convict the spirit of everyone else and make them want to change their ways. In their mind state, they believe that the oppressor will see himself hurting you and harming you and say, you know what, I feel bad for doing this, and I'm not going to do this anymore. Well, there was a brother that was a part of the Black Panthers. His name was what's his name? I believe it was Stokely Carmichael. His name later was changed to Kwame Ture. He said the one mistake that Martin Luther King had was for him to believe that the oppressor had a conscience. That only works. You can only do a non-violent movement, a pacifist movement against someone that has a conscience. And these devils don't have a goddamn conscience. Their heart is hardened. They don't see your pain. They don't see your suffering. They don't see any of that. They went through a Holocaust. That's all that matters. You went through 400 years of slavery. So what? Get over it. Boo-hoo. This is how they talk about your pain and suffering. But when it comes to them, everyone should cry. Everyone should remember. Everyone should honor. They make people go to museums to remember the Holocaust and the survivors and the victims and this and that and the third. Watch this movie, Schindler's List. Because they don't want anyone to forget their pain and suffering. And now today, they've had an incident with Hamas in Palestine, and they're saying this is the worst incident that's happened to them since the days of Hitler. we're losing the same amount of people every month in Black America. 300 some people dying in Chicago every year, 500 people. 1,000 people were dying in New York City every year at the height of the crack era. All over America, brothers is dying from the hands of the police, going away, taken to prison, man. 2 million people locked up in prison right now in the penitentiary. No one gives a damn about it, and their heart has been hardened. But it's a glorious thing because these people have built themselves up, and their pride has become so great. But the Lord said He is doing this so that He can get His glory in thee. So once again, the book of Exodus chapter 14, verse 17. And I behold, I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians, and they shall follow them. Meaning they're going to chase after the children of Israel after they agreed to let them go. You know what they were doing? They were breaking their treaty. They were breaking the agreement they had with the Israelites. They agreed to let us go, and then they reneged on it. Like they did the Native American Indians. 500 different times. 500 different treaties that were broken. And those are the ones that are on paper. Those aren't all the handshakes that they said and agreed to. We know how many countless different things they said they were going to do and turn their back on them. So it says, I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians, and they shall follow them, and I will get me honor upon Pharaoh and upon all his hosts, upon his chariots and upon his horsemen. These chariots today, these planes that these heathens have, these guns that they have, this military might that is known as America, the greatest place on earth. Matter of fact, let me play that little clip. Salakia. I was listening to some heathen last week, and he just said it with so much pride. The greatest place ever on earth. Us. Let me see it. Just the fear that he had was just amazing. His fear that he had talking about the end of America as we know it. Let's see if we play this.
In your school, so you have you can't
Let's see. He's just talking about the fear of World War III was going to happen and was going.
the lack of it.
Let's see a little bit more. Let's play about a minute or so of this.
Like the Hawaiian Special Operations guys, us advising on how to execute this, how to get the intelligence to know what direction they need to fly with the paragliders, which areas, which you don't need to have scouts, you know, which is around the Gaza, which houses they're going to be targeting. They find all that stuff. The people that Israel was allowing out of Gaza to work as they were going into these areas and these places and these houses and these villages doing recons. Then Hamas would attack on October 7th. They've been funded. There's this amazing book called The New Rules of War. And New Rules of War lines out all the.
Let me see. Let me turn this other music off of here. I think this is. Let's see.
Ways that America is not prepared to fight. By non-state actors, by corporations, by cartels, by violent extremist organizations using proxy methods. So if we are at war with Iran, they are funding every single group that just attacked our American base in Syria, that attacked our American base in Iraq, that attacked and killed a bunch of Americans in Israel. That was funded by Iran and trained by Iran.
Right. So he's just going through. He's saying how the first part he was talking about in Israel, the attacks that happened by Hamas, there were people that were coming into Israel working on workers' passes. And they're working in Israel. They're Palestinians, but they're actually doing intel for Hamas. And he's saying he's getting scared because there are people that are coming across the border every day from all these different nations. They don't know where these people are coming from. Like, this is how you know that the so-called Mexicans are Israelites and from the Middle East, because you might see somebody that's Arabic and you're like, man, is that person Mexican? Are they Latino or what? You don't know sometimes. And they coming over here acting like they speaking Spanish or just, que? That's all they saying. You ask them one thing, que? What? They only know one Spanish word. They really Arabs. They're from Palestine. They're from Saudi Arabia. They're from Afghanistan. They're coming over here doing intel. And when the ish hits the fan, they're going to turn on this place. And that's what happened in Israel. They knew where to go and places to hit because they had already been there doing research, right? And now he's saying there's all these different wars starting. Iran is not actually in a war, in a head-up fight with America. They're not doing a head-up fight. That's what he said. That's what a proxy war is. These different wars that are fighting, and it's not you two directly fighting, but they're using other people to do it. So he's saying Iran is training this group over here and training these people over here, sending money to Hamas, sending money to Hezbollah, and they're paying these people to go to war with these nations that are allied with America because they're really at war with America. And so we're going to keep going. Let me see.
But we don't have an appetite to try and fight the war that they're fighting because they're doing it in just such a, we want that World War II, right? We want standing on top of the tank, coming across, be like, we're all going to get them. Like that war is never going to happen again. We're just not ready to fight this new type of war under these.
They want to go back to the old days where they riding on tanks and they coming over the mountain. It's World War II, us versus them, and that's how things are supposed to be. That's not how it's going to be in the future. Keep going.
War, which is fighting Nazi actors, fighting proxy wars, fighting corporations funded by governments that are being subsidized by governments to destabilize the greatest nation to ever exist in the history of mankind.
He just said something like that. Oh, that's my favorite part. I could play that 100 times, though. He's saying they fight non-state actors. This is not a government. This is a group of militants that have gathered themselves together called Hamas, or this is a group of militants called Hezbollah. This is a group of these people over here called the Taliban. They're not actually part of an official government. They're not fighting against the Chinese government. They're fighting against non-state actors and proxy wars. You got Ukraine going to war with Russia, but really Ukraine is getting their weapons from America. So we're not actually fighting Russia in a head-up battle. We're using Ukraine to go to war with them. So I'm going to bring this part back a little bit right here, man. That's my favorite part. He said, all of them to go against the greatest country ever to exist, us. One more time.
And we're just not ready to fight this new type of war under these new rules of war, which is fighting Nazi actors, fighting proxy wars, fighting corporations funded by governments.
These corporations, these different people from China, they're making these businesses and making billions of dollars, and America depends on them for this and for that. These corporations are going to war with America as well. Stealing intellectual property, all the information from them, coming in here, working at these companies, and then taking the information back to their companies, building up their nation, and fighting against America. All right.
Cartels that are being subsidized by governments.
Cartels, these drug dealers, they getting paid from China. Where do you think all this fentanyl is coming from? Somebody said you might be able to find a whole brick of fentanyl for $500 on the streets, certain places. They throwing it over the fence. They say you can't even find pure heroin or any kind of heroin anymore. It's nothing but fentanyl. That's all that's available because the Chinese are giving drugs to the cartels to send them to America to destroy this place from the inside out. Keep going.
To destabilize the greatest nation to ever exist in the history of mankind.
You were saying that you think we're more vulnerable now and you're legitimately worried that the United States might fall.
I am more worried now because of the lack of preparedness of the individual. Americans are fatter than they've ever been. They are, even though there's more guns now owned, there are fewer per capita owned
Let me see. Delete that. Let's keep going.
individual people that train regularly with them, people that are able to provide and protect for their families. All like metrics and measurements of like, it's gonna be okay. That is the smallest that it's ever been. The government right now is vulnerable internationally than we've ever been. Our
Right.
military
So this is a person that's part of the military or ex-military. I think he's actually currently in the army or whatnot. He's saying America's military is, and the American people are the weakest that they've ever been. They are out here the most out of shape. They don't really train with the guns. If you look at what's going on with the LGBT community, good night. You can go on Instagram. I always talk about it. It's a Instagram page called Libs of TikTok, and you can go on there seeing girls and boys meowing like they're cats and dogs. They genuinely believe that, and people are feeding into their sickness, their mental illness, and telling them that they are a cat and they are a dog. They're telling them that you are a boy, you are a girl, etc. And this person in the military is like, how in the hell are we getting ready to go to war with China, with Hamas? Where are our soldiers going to be at when everyone here that's supposed to fight wants to be the opposite sex? The women, they want to be men, and they're going to find out when a wartime hits that they're really not men and they're really not about that life or what it means to be a man. And all the men that should be about that life and be ready to fight and protect this nation, they over there wanting to have periods and wanting to take estrogen and become women. So this place is just getting weaker and weaker from the inside out. And this dude right here is in absolute fear of these current events. And this is amazing, man. It just makes my day to hear these devils who are supposed to be the strongest and toughest place on earth ever in a human existence to be getting scared, having fear. Let's keep going.
is, even though I'm so proud to be a service member, and when the Army tells me to do something, I 100% have no say whatsoever. I gotta go and do it. I'm really proud to be part of the most elite fighting force on the planet. I think we are the weakest that we've ever been. For reasons. When you put all of these things together and you just take a step back and like the aggregate, like the accumulation of all of these different factors make me be like, oh, we are wrong. The only way to combat that is the individual to start taking their own security and preparedness seriously. Get less fat, get more healthy, go start exercising your freedoms. Like learn what it means to volunteer in your school. So you have to be like, cool, you can't start your own school. Cool, you can't homeschool. Well, get involved in your kid's school. Like you got to do something.
This is all the things that we need to do and continue to do in our IHP Canada Commander Jehana. He's saying train, go and get involved with your school. Really, if you can't teach your own children, you need to go and get involved with what's being taught to them because they see what's coming. They see a war is coming. And so they can't have their people out here going in the direction they're going. And we can't have our people going in the direction we're going. So we're going to have to get out here and train. We're going to have to get ready for war, and we're going to have to raise up our families, right?
Continue down the path that we're in, we're done for. Like, dude, not in like a generation. Like, I'm serious.
My fault. Oh, let me play that one more time. Hold on, let me go back a little bit further.
We can't homeschool. We'll get involved in your kid's school. Like, you got to do something because if we continue down the path that we're in, we're done. Like, dude, not in like a generation. Like,
Jesus Christ.
Joe Rogan in the background. He said, that dude said, I'm scared. I don't know. And Joe Rogan, Jesus Christ. All of a sudden they want to call on Jesus Christ when the end is near. And that is what we've been warning y'all since 1969, man. And it's amazing. Like I say all the time, Joe Rogan worth $100 million. He can't sleep at night because he's seeing what's happening. He's seeing America, the place that he put all of his heart, his soul into loving, crumbling at the very fabric. Just takes a little bit of thread. You pull on that thread, you can unravel the whole entire garment. You just pull on that thread just a little bit, you can unravel that entire flag that you love, that red, white, and that blue, that star and spangled banner. You sit there and you cry your tears when you talk about bombs bursting in the air when you sing the national anthem. Well, Black people, we sit at that national anthem, we crying too. We got tears too, but our tears aren't because of how great America is. Our tears are because we're being reminded of all the evil that America has done. There's two different things going on when you praise and worship that flag. Your flag that you raise up and you worship and see is such great honor is the flag of Nazi Germany. That's what we see. It's like the Jewish people see a Nazi flag. It's illegal in Germany to fly a Nazi flag. It is illegal for someone to raise up a Nazi flag. All that paraphernalia from the Nazis, they try to destroy it, get rid of it. They don't want any of that memorabilia because it was so evil. But this place wants honor for the evil that is done. This place wants to be seen as benevolent. That's another good word, man. They want to be seen as benevolent. What does that word mean? We want to be seen as honorable. Let's see, benevolent definition. Benevolent means well-meaning and kindly, charitable, almsgiving, big-hearted, tender-hearted, warm-hearted, kind-hearted. America wants to be seen as kind-hearted and a charitable nation of people that just look for the well-being of everyone and wants everything to be all good. But in reality, this is an evil and disgusting place. And this place has done nothing but brought nothing but death and pain to the Lord's chosen people. And so now this cat on here is talking about, I'm scared. We're closer to being destroyed than we've ever been. All right, let's go to the book of Obadiah. Obadiah chapter 1 and verse. Let's see. Let's go to verse. We'll start at verse 1. We're going to go a couple verses real quick. We'll go Obadiah chapter 1, verse 1. The vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord God concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. Like all these heathen nations, you seeing them gather themselves together. You seeing the BRICS alliance, China, Russia, India, Pakistan, Iran. America has so many enemies because they wanted to dominate the entire world. And so you can say it like this. It's like someone coming through and being a bully on the block, like how everybody knows Friday. Debo came around and was robbing everybody on the block. Literally. He taking your chain, taking your bike, taking your wallet, making you go buy 40s, making you go rob people together. He making Smokey go on a lick. Smokey just want to sit here and chill and get high. He got Smokey breaking and entering, committing felonies because he's such of a bully. That's what America does. They go around and make these nations go to war with these other nations. You don't do what we say, then we gonna do this to you. They sitting there playing dice together. Smokey out there shooting dice. There's 3 or 4 people on the ground shooting dice. Smokey win in the dice. You talking about I won? Nah, nigga, you ain't won. You lost. Give me that. That's how America is. We're gonna have an open election, free election over here in Iran or wherever nation they dealing with. And the person that wins that they don't want to win, they go back and double back and kick them out of office. So they don't have a choice. They either get down or lay down. That's not a friend. But Debo moved around the neighborhood. From a distance, it looked like a friend. When you see people playing dice together, you would think that's a group of friends. You see people sitting on the porch talking. That looks like a group of friends. They're really not friends. Debo is bullying them. And that's what America has done to the entire world. They've gone around and acted like they're friends or allies with everyone, but they have a gun to their head at the same time. But from a distance, it may look like they're friends. Well, these nations have grown to hate them. They never loved America. And now they're getting more strong. Smokey done gone home and done some push-ups. He just started eating, protein shakes. You like, hold on, man. You ain't gonna keep taking my chain. You ain't gonna keep. Matter of fact, let me get together with him. What do you say, man? Let's jump him. How about that? Nigga, I'm tired of getting robbed. Let me get together with Red. Let me get together with Craig. Let me get China. Let me get Red. Let's get together and let's jump them. That's what they're doing. That's the posture they're doing. And this is in the Bible. This is what is being said right here. We're gonna read it one more time. Obadiah chapter 1, verse 1. The vision of Obadiah. This is what he's seeing. Thus said the Lord God concerning Edom, concerning you devils. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye. He's telling these heathens, get up. You understand? And let us rise up against her in battle. Let's jump them. You understand? Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. You've been such a dominant force. You've done so much to take over the world. You forgetting that you're the minority. You called everyone else a minority. You come to America, you tell the Arabs they're a minority. You tell the Chinese they're the minority. You tell the Latinos and the Africans and whoever else, the Caribbeans, you tell all of them you're a minority. But in reality, they're the majority. There's over 1 billion people in China right now. 1 billion plus. I think it's 1.3 billion. America only has 300 million people here. China got 1.3. That 0.3 is all of America. They extras, they scraps is the same amount of people here in America. How many people live in India right now? What's the population of India? India population. 1.4 billion people live in India. You understand? These different nations. And who's another? So you got Brazil. What's Brazil's population? All these members of BRICS. Brazil population. 213 million. So you add that 213 million plus the 1.3 plus the 1.4 plus the other 200 million in Russia probably. Russia might have 100 million people. Russia population, 143 million. They're not playing, man. They coming together. You are a minority amongst the heathen. You are what it says. Verse 2, behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. Verse 3. This is what I want to get back to that Joe Rogan podcast when he was talking. The pride of thine heart have deceived thee. Thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that said in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? That's my favorite part. He said the best country ever to exist. Us. Ooh, that part, man. Let me see.
When you put all of these things together, and you just take
Let me see if I find that part one more time. So I like it.
Provide and protect their enemies. All the metrics and measurements of like.
Let me see. That's my favorite part. I can hear it 100 times a day. So
In,
like,
in the history of mankind.
there you go. There you go. It sounds like a prideful bastard right here. Listen to the pride in his voice he has for this place.
By governments, fighting cartels that are getting subsidized by governments to stabilize the greatest nation to ever exist in the history of mankind.
The greatest nation to ever exist in the history of mankind. The white man, Edom, America, Western civilization, the UK, France, Spain, all of these things are in cahoots and working with each other. And their pride is so high. They know that they're the greatest nation. And since they are the greatest nation to ever exist, then why should they fall? It shouldn't happen. These things shouldn't happen. In their mind, they thought, this is it. We made it. We have made it. There is no end in sight. What is that called? We're going to ride off into the sunset. It's the happily ever after. Like every drug movie, you as a young kid, man, growing up in the streets, just listening to rap music, just watching these gangster movies, you're gonna root for the bad guy. The main character, half the time, ain't even the bad guy. He's a good person. In your mind, watching the movie, you root for him. You root for Scarface to make it. He's getting off the boat with nothing, and now he's got hundreds of millions of dollars. That sounds like a good story to me. Because we all identify with having nothing. You see the movies, the TV show Snowfall, Franklin Saint, poor, his mom about to get evicted, they about to destroy the home, whatever. You know what I mean? He come from that to flying planes and going over here and going buying real estate. That sounds like the American dream to me. Why would you want him to lose? Why should he die at the end of the show? Why should he end up on drugs? Why should he end up going to jail? Why should he, you know, understand what I'm saying? Get backstabbed by one of his friends and lose everything. That's not what we want. We want to see the bad guy succeed in the end. But every single time, like clockwork, they have to put it in the movie. The bad guy cannot win. What type of message would they send? Even though they know you in the ghetto, you're going to do it anyway. You're going to follow Scarface. You're going to still try to be like Tony Montana, even though the end of the movie shows him getting shot up 1,000 times, high out of his mind on cocaine. He's getting shot to smithereens. You're still going to want to be him. You're only going to remember the good part of the movie, and you're going to try to live like Tony Montana. But they tell you time and time again, in New Jack City, in the movie Blow, in the movie whatever, Menace to Society, in the movie this, in the Boys in the Hood, and whatever gangster movie, whatever drug dealing movie, Belly, it could go on and on and on and on. Snowfall, this and that and the third, Breaking Bad. Every time at the end of the movie, the person that you're rooting for gets destroyed. Well, guess what? America, in their mind, they're like, nah, we gonna make it. We riding off into the sunset. We gonna live happily ever after. We did our crime, we did our dirt, and we made it to the top. So there's no one else who can stop us. That's the thing about becoming number one, the greatest country ever to exist. Us. We made it to the, who can stop us? We got nuclear bombs. We got the best weaponry. We got the Lord's chosen people enslaved for us. In what is that called? When they talked about Dave Chappelle, the contract he signed, he said it's in perpetuity or something like that. It is forever. We got these niggas over here. We got a permanent slave class. China can't do what we doing. Russia can't do what we're doing. India can't do what we're doing because that's their own people, their own nation. We imported a slave class of people. Who the hell can stop us? We made it to the top. There's no other nation that can come compete with us, that can F with us. That's the pride of Esau. And you know what? They're right. They were absolutely 100% right. No one can bring them to court. No one can demand justice. The world court can't take them to jail for war crime or come up against them for war crimes because they run the United Nations. They run the world court. Who is going to stop them? They forgot about one thing that's going to stop them from riding off in the sunset. That's going to make that movie crash down. And that's the Most High God, Yahweh in the Hebrew. They forgot about that factor. That was the X factor. They thought they had everything sold up. You hear it in his voice, the greatest people ever to it, greatest nation to ever exist. One more time.
Hotels that are getting subsidized by governments to stabilize the greatest nation to ever exist in the history of mankind.
There you go. So let's read it again. Obadiah 1 and 3. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee. It's deceived you. You thought you made it. You're such a prideful bastard. You can't even envision things going wrong. You don't even have a contingency plan, as they say. You don't even got a plan B. You just rocking with plan A. Destroy these niggas, destroy these natives, destroy these Mexicans, destroy these Latinos, get this, get that, build this bomb. Everybody in check. All these nations, y'all in line. Do what the hell we say. We're going to blow you to smithereens. That's it. Good. We good. It deceived you, right? That nuclear bomb deceived you. You thought you had the most powerful weapon on planet Earth, but we got something greater than that. The children of Israel have something greater than that, and that's the brotherhood that we have, the love that we have. That's the law, statutes, and commandments that we have. That's our King Yahweh Shai Mashiach that we have. That is a greater weapon than what you have. This is why we say brotherhood is a weapon. Brotherhood is greater than a nuclear bomb. I hope y'all know that out there. Sisterhood is greater than a nuclear bomb. Just think about that right there. That's in the Bible. I'm going to show it to you if y'all don't believe me. All right? And we almost done. I'm not going to hold it too much longer. But that's a powerful statement. We need to get that on a shirt. Brotherhood is more powerful than a nuclear bomb. If we can understand that and get that and see how glorious and great it is, Psalms 133 and 1, how glorious it is to see brethren dwelling together in unity, man. This is a great thing in the eyes of the Lord. And I'm paraphrasing that, right? But that brotherhood, you loving your brother as you love yourself, is more powerful than a nuclear weapon, because not only does it destroy your enemy, because your enemy built himself up off of your destruction. So if you're no longer destroyed and you're built up, then they have to fall down and they have to be destroyed. So not only are you destroying them through your brotherhood in that fashion, but you're also destroying them with the Lord saying that this is a righteous nation of people and that I must bring vengeance to the enemies of my people, the apple of my eye. I must destroy anyone that wants to put a finger or abuse my chosen people, because now you're acting like a chosen people. So your pride has deceived thee. Thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high. You live in the mountains, you live in the hills, you live in the high rises in New York City, in San Francisco, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Who won it? Isn't that what Debo said when he knocked out Red? He said, who won it? Pop said, no. He did the same thing when he slapped old girl at the end, knocked her out. Which one of y'all won it? Who want to step up? You understand? That's how he acted, all right? Verse 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. You got all these satellites and everything in the sky, you going out to space. Even though you have all these things, the Lord's going to bring you down. You understand? And so, let me go to, let me go drop down. Verse 7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Like, you were at peace with this nation. You thought you were good with this nation. These people ain't forgot what you did to them. You can get black people in America to forget because you moved up to around so much, and we don't even know or are not educated on what was even done to us, and we don't even look at you as an enemy. These other nations, these Chinese, they ain't forget. They didn't forget about the Opium War. These East Indians, they didn't forget about what you did to Gandhi and what you did with the British. Was it the British or Indian? What was it? What do they call it? The British India Company, I believe. They turned the whole nation into a company, into a LLC. they turned the whole nation. I gotta look that up. What was that called, man? Y'all go look at that history up, man. They called the land of India the British India Company or something like that. Let's see if anybody knows what I'm talking about. India Company. Let me see if that's right. East India Company. I think that let me see. Hold on. Was an active part of change the just shortcomings. Hold on. The East India Company. Let me see. They basically were these people were running the entire nation of India. And it was through some type of corporation. Let's see. The East India Company was an English and later British joint stock company founded in 1600 and dissolved in 1874. It was formed to trade in the Indian Ocean region, initially with the East Indies, the Indian subcontinent, and later with East Asia. The company seized control of large parts of the Indian subcontinent and colonized parts of Southeast Asia and Hong Kong. At its peak, the company was the largest corporation in the world by various measures. The EIC had its own armed forces in the form of the company's 3 presidency armies, totaling 260,000 soldiers. What type of company is this? Twice the size of the British Army at the time. The operations of the company had a profound effect on the global balance of trade, almost single-handedly reversing the eastward drain of Western bullion in effect since Roman time. Like, they bringing all this money back from the east to the west instead of the west sending money to the east. Instead of the money coming out of Europe going into the Eastern nations, all the money is coming out of the Eastern nations and going into the European nations. So this company started out as a corporation, but developed and had its own army, developed and started possessing land. The company eventually came to rule large areas of India, exercising military power and assuming administrative functions. They're running as the government. Company rule in India effectively began in 1757 after the Battle of Plassey and lasted until 1858. Following the Indian Rebellion in 1857, the Government of India Act 1858 led to the British Crown assuming direct control of India in the form of the new British Raj. So what the heck is that? So the British Raj was the rule of the British Crown on the Indian continent. And it's called the Crown Rule of India or direct rule in India. Like that's what Gandhi was about. Gandhi was trying to free his people from the direct rule of the British Empire over them. But how did it start? It started with this corporation. Like, could you imagine that? McDonald's coming to your city, Starbucks going to your island, and next thing you know, they the government. The Starbucks is the government of your whole entire goddamn country, man. That's how they have been. That's the things that they were doing. You think that the Indians forgot about that? You think they forgot? They know their history. We forgot. We don't know. We don't read books. You don't teach us in our school. We still in America. We still enslaved here. Once they kick the British out, they can go and teach their people. They say, don't forget this. These people are our enemies. Don't you ever forget this. Don't you forget what they've done to us. Yes, you can act like friends to the white man, but they is not our friend. No, 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 no. Thank you. Come again. Yeah, we are going to come again. We're going to fight again. They ain't forgot that. They want their get back. They want their blood, man. They want to see this place fall. And so that's what it's saying, man. This pride has deceived them. Once again, it says, verse 7, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. Indians, they come here, they work. They built up the whole Silicon Valley. And it seems like India loves America. They're at peace with America. But in reality, they hate this place and prevailed against thee. That they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. You understand? Verse 8, shall I not say in that day, saith the Lord, even destroy the wise men out of Edom and understanding out of the mount of Esau. That's how the dude in the military was sounding on here. He said at the end of this, he said, I don't know what to do. I don't know what's going on. I can't call it. What did he say? Let me see.
In their kids' school, like you got to do something because if we continue down the path that we're in, we're done for. Like, dude, not like a generation.
Not in a generation. It's not gonna be 20 years from now, 30 years from now, 100 years from now. The American empire is going to fall now. Now.
I'm scared.
I'm scared.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. Y'all don't try to call on our king. You understand? Don't try to call on our king now. You understand? Nah, that's not the day. Let's keep going. So it says, verse 8. No, verse 9. And thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. They just dismayed. The mighty men, the wise men, the military strategists, all of them, it's just getting out of hand, and they cannot get what do they call it? The cat out of the bag. They can't get it back in the bag. They were able to do these things it's like the Frankenstein. They were able to do these things when East India didn't have internet. You understand? They didn't have cell phones. They were able to get away with this over here in China. The Opium War. We didn't hear about no damn Opium War. How do you think people in Mississippi, in Timbuktu, Mississippi, hearing about an Opium War that's going around in China in 1850? You in 1850, you on a plantation picking cotton. They over there in China doing an Opium War at the same time. They're over there in East India, another couple thousand miles away, destroying their people. We don't know what's going on. We don't see all that. But they're moving as a conglomerate going throughout the entire world, organized, sending letters, being in communication with each other, and laying hold of the entire world. But now, as things have started to balance out and people are catching up to these Europeans, they realizing that they set themselves up for the biggest fall in human history. And all of that is in the Bible. All of that is the Lord putting his spirit on these people and these nations to rise up. And we just got to sit back, separate ourselves, and do what we need to do. I said I had a precept to show you that brotherhood is greater than a nuclear bomb. That's Ecclesiastes 9 and 18. Another one of precepts I love. The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 9, verse 18. Wisdom is better than weapons of war. Like wisdom, the wisdom that we have. And the two greatest commandments is to love our God with all our heart and all our might, love our neighbor as ourselves. That's wisdom. That's being wise. Obeying the commandments is wise. That's wisdom. How do we know that? Deuteronomy 4 and 6. This is the wisdom in the sight of the nations. Right? This is your wisdom in the sight of the nations. Deuteronomy 4 and 6. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. Like our wisdom is greater than the weapons of war. Obeying the law, statutes, and commandments does more harm to these nations than does more harm to our oppressor than all the stuff that China's trying to do. You know how intricate, plotted out, planned out China has to be to go to all these different wars with America, sending spies over here, infiltrating this, doing that, doing this, developing that, stealing this, copyrighting that. Nigga, all we gotta do is obey the laws of God, man. And that's greater than having 1,000 nukes. Because when we obey our God, they gonna send the nukes and we ain't even have to do nothing. They gonna go to war, cause this economic strife and pay this people off over here and do this and do that. They doing it all and they gonna about to fight it out with themselves, man. So once again, if you going through anything, because I know brothers are going through stuff right now. I see it. It's all around the map when it comes to the nation of Israel. The Lord is testing brothers. The Lord is testing sisters. You're gonna go through some things with your family, with your friends, with your job, with your slavery, with your landlord, with whatever. Things are going to happen right now to try to make you weak, to try to make you leave the truth. And those things that you see it happening, don't let that stress you out. Don't let it weary you out. Be encouraged by the fact that your oppressor is worried, that your oppressor is stressed out. So they're going to say, is that the one that made all the nations bow down? I forgot, I'm paraphrasing it wrong, but in Isaiah in the 14th chapter, is this the man that made the nations weak? I'll read that one too. Now I'll definitely close out on that one. Salaki. Is this the man that made all the nations? It's like Isaiah 14. And what is that? Isaiah 14 and 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? And what does it say? Is this the man? Where we at? Verse 16. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that didst shake kingdoms? Like, that's how it's gonna be. It's like, damn, how is this the cat that everybody feared? How is he in fear? If he is fear, what the hell are you scared of? They talk about that like it's one thing for you to have nothing and lose nothing. And it's a hard concept for us to understand. We wonder why they say, okay, this rich man loses all his stocks, the stock market crash, he jump out a window. For us, you wake up, you got $50,000 in your bank account. The average black nigga gonna think he the Princess Amunda. That's what you gonna think in your mind. You gonna think you the Prince of Zamunda with $50,000 cash in your bank account. Can't nobody tell you nothing. This rich man that had $300 million in his bank account, he got $50,000 in his bank account. He wants to kill himself. But in reality, that is something different. We can't understand that. To have everything and lose it all, it does something to you. We never had anything, so we're not scared of being at the bottom because that's where we started at. My dad used to always say that about the Great Depression in the 1930s. The Great Depression literally had people jumping out of windows. But he said, as far as black people was concerned, we didn't even notice no difference. Great Depression, this is how we've been living. We were just fine in the Great Depression. It was the oppressors that were having a hard time adjusting to this fall. So for them to be this high up and to fall down, and him to say he's scared, we good at the bottom. We know what that's like. America falling, that's not nothing. You losing your job, you losing this, you losing that. We've been doing that. We gonna make it. But them losing the grip on the entire world and them losing the most powerful nation to ever exist, that's something to be stressed out about. Now that's something you should worry about. You worrying about your car breaking down or your insurance bill, your light bill. They worrying about losing the free world, being the rulers of the free world. You ain't got nothing to worry about, Akim. You ain't got nothing to worry about, sister. You ain't got nothing to worry about, brother. We looking at the greatest people on earth, or the greatest nation on earth, quote unquote, being put to shame, being put in fear. So, and it's all happening because of brothers and sisters like yourself waking up to this truth. And the Lord seeing his people pleading out to him and begging for justice and mercy. And it's getting closer and closer to him honoring that which he has promised and which he sent his priests and prophets out here to talk about in his Bible and warn our people about and prophesy about the future days that are to come. These are the things. This is the patience and the faith of the saints. And just hold on, man. Endure. Keep on enduring. Fight through that. Don't let these demons separate you from your brothers in the last day. Don't let these demons separate you from your sisters and your ribs and your children in these last days, because that's what they're going to try to do. Try to sift us out, sift us from each other, when in reality, we should be getting closer and closer and gathering together closer and closer and growing and becoming greater and becoming stronger as our enemy becomes weaker and more divided and more hateful towards itself and destroys itself internally. Republican versus Democrat, trans versus straight, up versus down, left versus right, cat versus dog. You don't know if you're a cat. This one say they the dog. They having fights, and it's just amazing. So, that's it. I ain't gonna hold it anymore. Go ahead, say shalom. Y'all about to Shah Thumb to all the brothers. Y'all was tomorrow thumb about Shah to all the sisters. Any quick question, just because of this scripture breakdown. If anybody had any questions, you can type them in. I'll hold it. I'll wait 2 more minutes if you had any questions online. If not, we'll go ahead and close the class out. All right. So, Lucky, I should have asked that a long time ago. If anybody had any questions for scripture breakdown, if you got any questions, type them in the chat right now. If not, we're going to close this class out. All right. A whole lot more precepts for it. All right. Right. Sister said we don't know any different. Oh yeah, so like I gotta start putting the comments on the screen as I go through class. You understand? Yeah. Yep. Right. Hashem Yahushua, Most High in Christ, for that brother. You understand? She said, LOL, that flag gonna be on fire. Yeah, the war on drugs is killing them, man. We put some of these quotes up here on the screen. Let's see what the sister and the brothers is talking about. Yeah, drugs, it's killing America. This opioids are killing these oppressors. It's going rampant. They try to put us on crack and take us out. This opioid is turning on their head. Uraga Bar. Rock. Ranyala. Sir. That's that. Okay, I don't see any I don't see any questions, so we can go ahead and close this class. All right. Shalom.